Wow. Let me tell you one thing that's going on during that time period. Actually, no, I lied. What is going on July 21st to 20th to 21st? Maybe maybe there's some sort of like a Bilderberg meeting or there's got to be some sort of a meeting that happens, I'm guessing. And then all these people leave and they start researching this. I mean, you have to kind of put together the pieces here. What does this mean? Okay, let's talk about Caldera Engineering. If you are knee deep in this internet research culture that we have right now, there's a lot of patterns going on that are very interesting, guys. Very interesting stuff. Let me just give you a brief recap of just how insane everything is, right? This guy, Tyler Robinson, he would have had to have taken the shot with a World War I era 30-06 that magically went in and didn't come out of his body, okay? And let alone not blow his whole head off because it's 30-06. Then he managed to get it done in one shot, super clean, with a metal scope and, just a regular old, Mauser. It's insane to think about this. It might have been a World War II rifle. Either way, we're talking about an ancient piece of technology that was effectively wielded in the first shot, and that he managed to grab that, put it back up on his chest. He didn't put it up on his chest. He had to have grabbed it, taken it apart immediately. Like, immediately. They show him running. There's a guy running on the roof 3 seconds after the shot's been taken. Everyone is ducking down like they just reacted to the shot, and the guy's running. They don't, at this same exact camera angle from the footage, would have shown him actually taking the shot, yet they don't give that to us. Okay? Then they show a guy hopping off the roof, and there's something that appears to be moving like this. They're trying to tell us that that's a rifle. It looks like a sweatshirt. And his backpack, the barrel would have been over 2 feet long. We're talking a very long rifle, even after it being broken down. There's very little evidence that Tyler Robinson ever had a gun on the school campus. Mind you, all their cameras were replaced in 2022 with top-of-the-line equipment. Top of the line. Like, the 2022, they replaced all the cameras there. And all we get is some shitty footage. And then when we ask for the footage from Turning Point, they look at us like we're evil for asking questions. You know, there's something very suspicious about the fact that they're not willing to lend any and every bit of information that they can to the internet sleuths so that, they could solve this murder. Because how is this okay? Like, imagine your husband, your family member, just anybody, okay? Anybody that you actually care about gets killed. And the evidence that they have against the killer for your loved one is at as low of a threshold as the Tyler Robinson stuff. Would you feel comfortable? Would you feel comfortable watching that person get convicted? Tell me this. If you were to be honest with yourself, would you get closure as someone that's in Erica Kirk's shoes? Would you get closure with the death penalty for somebody that didn't kill your loved one, or that without a doubt did not act alone? Okay? We can definitively say that for him to have orchestrated this entire thing the way that it was orchestrated, it couldn't have happened that way. It couldn't have happened. It couldn't have happened. And then they go and they tear down the whole fucking site of the shooting. There's no blood. They don't block the blood. It's very odd. Very, very odd stuff. But let's get back over to this stuff. All right. This is odd, okay? So internet searches. This guy looks online and he checks the searching, the history of the streaming, or not the streaming, the history of search results. And online, Caldera Engineering. So let's talk about some of the irregularities other than what I just brought up there. And let's talk about why this is significant. So Caldera Engineering happens to be a golden thread that is putting together a lot of different elements to this whole thing. Caldera Engineering has been around since '97, I believe. This is something that, in fact, you know what? Let's go and hop over to, well, hopefully he'll explain it. But if not, Candace Owens will. I'll have her explain it. There's a lot of different people that were on television giving witness testimony to the media and stuff like that. But a lot of these people are actually all connected to this one group, which is Caldera Engineering. Now, if you know much about the CIA or intelligence assets or intelligence agencies, what they do is they cover their asses under things like LLCs or fake businesses. They could use this money. They could use this as means to wire money and move around money for clandestine activities, for one. For laundering money. For sometimes these are actually legitimate businesses that are just being used as an intelligent. They're being used for intelligence operations as well, but they're actually legitimate businesses. Some of them are completely fake. This appears to have been. There's very little that we know right now, at least that Candace was able to give me, but. Here's Caldera Engineering. This is that company that just keeps popping up. Everywhere we look, we see people with ties to this valve company. Like, for example, the property that was found, the gun was found on, happened to be owned by 683, which is some company that has massive involvement with Palantir. So that's just another thing that makes it weird.
Look, I am not drawing conclusions. That's not what I do. I don't intend to draw conclusions. Boy, there's some good questions in the comments. I'm going to get to some of these questions. Wow. There's some good questions. But I would add this to frankly, the list of surgeons. Go back last week, create a compilation. You can add this to the list of surgeons who were being searched in that same thing.
Okay.
Caldera Engineering has 2 locations.
What's up with these surgeons?
In the Middle East. One is in Orem, Utah. I think that's their headquarters. I think that's where they make most of their stuff. And the other one's like on the western coast of Australia.
Okay. Weird.
And I don't want to go through the whole connection to Caldera Engineering. I actually have a Twitter post, I think, that I have here. That kind of, yeah. So I think the person, and I may be getting this wrong. Let's just count this as opinion. I think the person who originally turned over the video to TMZ.
All right, we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop here right now.
Down the street. I think.
Okay, listen. I need to see what this guy did. If maybe, hopefully, he made it short. Okay. Cool. So this guy is basically like me. He's brand new. He's gone live a few times. you know, he does appear to be.
That person and many of the people in that neighborhood may have
Okay.
Caldera Engineering. And there's some weirdness that these are other people covering this. Don't come to me looking for this. I am not a one shop fit all. This is a solo job over here. Solo job over here. Not a one size fits all type deal. But I think a lot of those people, I'm looking at MJ Truth Ultra. She is showing a clip from Candace's show on YouTube and Rumble. So you can go and find that if you're curious about it. If you search up Caldera Engineering and MJ Truth Ultra or Candace, you'll find it. But I just wanted to show you, I've gotten so many requests. That has really become a hot topic. And when I did it,
Okay, well, we got Caldera Engineering right here. What is Caldera Engineering? I don't know, but we'll be able to look right here.
Hi everyone, here at Caldera Engineering, we specialize in severe service pressure reducing, or often called pressure let down controlled systems. Now I know it's a bit of a
You hear that accent right there? These are foreign accents.
mouthful, but hopefully after this video it'll be a lot clearer to you.
Oh, this is Australian. Okay.
In our applications, we often come across a specific type of flow called flashing compressible.
Okay, so it's some Aussies. Okay. Listen, well, we're just so you guys could understand what the heck we're talking about with Caldera. Here we go. Here's a weird one, right?
Another person gave us a tip and said, hey, did you know that there's literally someone who works at Caldera Engineering who is a professional actor? Like, no background in engineering, went to school for theater, worked in theater, was in plays, was involved in plays. I looked through everything, went through it. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Why is he suddenly at Caldera Engineering? Like, not
That's a
literally,
little
just,
interesting.
Like, randomly on his resume is Caldera Engineering. Why are they hiring gay actor? I don't know the answer to that. I'm telling you guys what are the things that I have stumbled upon. Then somebody emailed us, and this was strange. We have not been able to corroborate this. We can tell you the link was real, and that but we don't know if the internet was scraping and got things incorrect. But there was an Israeli individual who was listed as the founder of Caldera Engineering.
Interesting.
We obviously know that Caldera Engineering had said that they did projects according to their website in Israel. Another person gave us a tip and said, hey, did you know that there's literally someone?
Okay, let's take a look.
Another person gave us a tip and said, hey, did you know that there's literally someone?
Okay, that's Caldera. Yeah, we don't know what's up with Caldera. Let's see if she added anything else. Here we go. I don't know what the hell she's doing right now.
You are an engineer, and you're like, I've been buying their valves actually for 20 years. Maybe you are an engineer, and you're like, I've been buying their valves actually for 20 years. Actually, and they're fantastic. They work great. I'd like to hear from you. Again, more tips at Candace Owens. All right, a couple of updates for you. We are getting...
Okay. Yeah, the John Kiriakou interview is actually pretty good. There's a couple things he said here I really was impressed.
And more than
And it belongs
about it. Is it because of the political?
mercilessly. But man, it's like every time she opens her mouth these days, she's right. And I find myself agreeing. Who are you and what have you done with Marjorie Taylor Greene? I said to a friend of mine just 2 days ago, I can't believe that I wake up in the morning, read the news, and agree with everything that Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying. What kind of crazy country have we become? I don't understand it.
Yeah. Actually, she called what is happening in Gaza, she called it genocide before Bernie
That's
Sanders.
a huge thing to say.
It's huge for those people who are criticizing the policies in the Middle East, in Palestine.
Yeah, I'm smiling because it's so ridiculous But then at the same time, it's also a clear indication of the current state of American politics. Listen, on my own podcast, my old radio show, I used to make fun of Marjorie Taylor Greene mercilessly. But man, it's like every time she opens her mouth these days, she's right. And I find myself agreeing with her.
It's not just about her. It's about Tucker Carlson,
Uh-oh.
Candace Owen.
That's right.
In my opinion, you look at Steve Bannon talking about.
All right, guys, we have some breaking news. It appears that Qatari diplomats have died in a car accident
Oh, wow.
on their way to this international peace summit, which is scheduled for Monday.
No
Is this
way.
suspicious?
That
I'm
is
going to
very
show you
suspicious.
an incident that happened years ago, which does raise.
What? That is crazy. Qatari diplomats killed on their way to. This just happened?
Red flags. Let's go ahead and get into it. Again, the story kind of snuck through over the weekend. It says here from Voice from the East, a delegation of employees from the Qatari Foreign Ministry accompanying the Prime Minister of Qatar in Sharm el-Sheikh was involved in a fatal accident. 4 dead so far. Let's go ahead and show you the picture here. Diplomats here. A lot of people are asking questions about this. Voice from the East said, and before the rumors start, no, it's not Mossad. That's a real car accident. But wait till I show you some of the responses from the Zionists, which make it very concerning. The car from the scene of the accident. So here is the vehicle. Here it looks like a Mercedes van. Let's go ahead and get into the article here from Middle East Monitor.
Yeah, see, I don't trust
At this
it.
point, it was just 3 that were killed. 3 Qatari diplomats killed in a car crash in Egypt. Let's
Okay.
get into this story, folks, and I'll tell you why Egypt is important here. 3 Qatari diplomats were killed and 2 others were injured in a car crash in the Egyptian Red Sea city of Sharm el-Sheikh, according to an official statement. Qatar's embassy in Cairo said that the U.S. social media company X, that Emiri Dewan, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names, Emiri Dewan members Saad bin Thamar al-Thani, Abdullah al-Hanim al-Karan, and Hassan Jabir lost their lives in a traffic accident while performing their official duties. Now, what many people are pointing to is the fact that this is happening while they were on their way to this international, and I say peace with quotations because you guys know how I feel about all this international peace summit, which is scheduled for Monday. At the same time, for Sunday, the hostages are supposed to be released. There's a lot of things that are happening right now in the Middle East, and some people are asking questions. Was this an actual accident or was it sabotage? We can only just point back to a couple of weeks ago where Israel implemented a strike in Qatar to try to hit Hamas leaders who went to meet with Qatar for these negotiation talks. And so we talked about that. We talked about how, the air defenses were not in place when that happened. And I told you I thought the U.S. was completely behind this, and I thought Qatar may have been behind this as well. It was just a little too convenient. Now we see that Qatari diplomats have now been killed in this car accident on their way to this
sketchy.
summit, and it does raise
That's
alarm
very
bells.
sketchy.
Like, people are asking, like, what is going on here? Is this just a coincidence? Is it just an accident? Let's continue on here. 2 other Dewan members, Abdullah and Muhammad, were injured in the accident, and transferred to Sharm el Sheikh International Hospital for medical care. I believe one of them has now passed on. I think it's 4 of them now. The embassy
Wow,
adds
that's crazy.
that deceased and injured diplomats will be transported to Doha aboard a Qatari plane today, expressing gratitude to Egyptian authorities for their cooperation, care, and attention in following up on this incident and providing the necessary facility.
Look, I'm not buying it, guys. I'm going to tell you right now, this is my theory, as I really think that they are going to do anything they can to sabotage this happening and frame it in a way that they have plausible deniability. That is their MO right now, is how can we orchestrate this to where we look good, yet we're still get our objective accomplished. And their objective, Hamas is merely an element that's necessary for them to accomplish the goal that they need. They've been funding Hamas. They helped get Hamas into power. They were supporters of Hamas when it was founded. Netanyahu had orchestrated the continued funding of Hamas. For all I know, the military equipment and everything else that has been provided to them has been allowed over there by Israel. They have the most advanced technology. They have a full blockade on everything. They have such a good blockade that they had the people there starving. Okay? They have that whole area controlled. Then there's no entrance. You can't get in there whether you have a flotilla or your Salvation Army truck without the IDF's approval. Okay? This is all stuff that they have. And Hamas, the radicalized Islamic terrorists government, at least a lot of that's what they want you to genuinely absorb, right? They want you to think about October 7th and get mad and get really angry and think of these people as being complete unprovoked savages. Just savages. The Amalek. These people. And what was their demand? They said immediately, we will do a hostage exchange. Give us back the Palestinians that you arrested without any due process. That you kidnapped it. There's Palestinian hostages, okay? I want you to understand the concept of what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to be demeaning here. In fact, there's probably very little people listening. But when Israel captures somebody without due process, they don't afford them the same legal protections that an Israeli citizen would have if they had been detained. There's thousands of them. Many of these were children that have been arrested by the IDF, held in not in just confinement, but many of them have been physically attacked and brutalized, tortured. They don't talk about Israel doing that to Palestinians, but the hundreds of Palestinians, the hundreds of Hamas hostages, they are talked about all the time. All the time they're talked about. And oftentimes, when they're getting dropped off by Hamas in these hostage exchanges, which is about to happen in a few more hours, the Hamas had a warm and friendly exchange with Hamas and left in a bittersweet way. You know, you could blame that on Stockholm Syndrome if you want. If you want to blame it on Stockholm Syndrome, you could totally do that if you wanted. But I think it's a lot more than just that. You know, I think it's really like their total understanding of what life must be like for the Palestinians and understanding and grasping this so that they could turn around and hopefully be a mouthpiece for progress in relations between Palestine and Israel. Is unlike Israel, that's completely unhinged right now. Palestine even Hamas is not what they try and build up Hamas to be. Frankly, I think that they're no different than Al Qaeda or ISIS. I think that they're a deep state generated group. That's what I'm really starting to think of that. And if that wasn't the case, then somebody needs to explain to me how Al-Jawlani, now that he's the leader, there was a $50 million bounty on his head at one point because he is a terrorist that has slaughtered women and children and tortured hundreds. Now he's welcomed to New York City and treated like a global leader because of what he's done to subjugate the people of Syria. Disgusting. Terrorism by Israel is not terrorism. It's always some other kind of, as long as it's on behalf of the power structure, which appears to be United States and Israel. If it's done on behalf of whatever agenda they might have, then it's totally fine. Totally fine. Yeah. So now we got this. Listen, do you guys... Yeah. I don't see it.
I question.
I
I question.
Of course.
I could understand if maybe it was like a Kia, right? Because Kia is not high quality
yeah.
automobiles. But Mercedes,
Come on now.
I don't know, guys.
Come on,
continue.
guys.
Sharm El Sheikh will host an international peace summit on Monday to be co-chaired by.
Anyways, I want to get back to what I was about to say. They want Hamas. They want to kill all the leadership of Hamas. Okay? They do not want them to live. For many reasons, I think that each and every one of them is potentially in a position to be a threat to the power structure. Drastically, because if you were to actually talk to them, you would find out that they have a lot more cooperation with the Likud party than anything that any of us. This is my theory, okay? I don't have actually proof of this, but from all the collection of all the information that I've received up until this is my gut feeling. My gut feeling is that there is elements of the Mossad and Hamas that are in connection with each other and are continuing to essentially create this whole entire scheme so that the land can be stolen. That's my theory, is that I wouldn't be surprised if, like Al-Qaeda and ISIS, I heard somebody say ISIS stands for Israeli Secret Intelligence something. ISIS stood for, basically another secret intelligence operation. I don't know. That would be actually kind of hilarious that they would be able to do that. And if anybody could get away with that, that would be Israel, of all places. Because, their intelligence is, there's nobody better. Them and the CIA are like that. They're essentially the same entity. And I think that, the sooner we come to accept that, the better. But I don't want to hear the word ally come out of anybody's mouth. There's no proof of them being, our relationship with them being beneficial on any. Like, I'm saying this like legitimately. It's a beautiful land. Jesus died on the cross there. He was born in that area. He was born on the West Bank. But it is nice to know that the government that's in that land currently right now is accepting of American people, somewhat. Like, even when they send people on propaganda missions, like, what's his name? What's the name of that one influencer? Officer Tatum. Officer Tatum got taken out there, and he's doing an interview with Netanyahu, and he literally says, he says he was only spat on once. His group was only spat on once by the Jews there because they really love you there. They just love you. Anyways, I'm kind of going off on topics here, but right now, as we speak, people are probably wondering, hey, did this group of Qataris on their way to go sign a peace negotiation and ceasefire deal, they were killed? Qatari diplomats? Of fucking course. A steering wheel malfunction? And it was that devastating of an accident that it killed 4 people? Okay, alright. We know who fucking did this. Come on. Way too coincidental. Well, then again, maybe not. Maybe not. But Israel's on some other shit, man. Israel be on some other shit. They're like the real world supervillain now. And they got us. They've infiltrated us. They own us. We're their big dog.
By President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and his American counterpart Donald Trump, with the attendance of more than 20 countries. So again, like I said, it's just the timing of it all is kind of weird. The summit seeks to end the war in the Gaza Strip, enhances efforts to bring peace and stability to the Middle East, and usher in a new phase of regional security and stability. That's according to the Egyptian presidential statement. Trump announced Wednesday that Israel and Hamas agreed to the first phase of the 20-point plan he laid out on September 29th to bring a ceasefire to Gaza, release all Israeli captives being held there in exchange for 2,000 Palestinian hostages. I'm going to correct you there, not prisoners. And a gradual withdrawal.
Thank you. You see this?
From the entire
the battle of language.
The first phase of the deal came into.
No, I think that's important. Literally, just what she said right there. You understand the battle of the war of words? How important are words? They're very, very, very important. If words didn't matter, okay, listen to me. Look at me right now. I want you to look at me right now when I speak to you and tell you this. If words weren't important, if they weren't afraid of what me and you have to say, Charlie Kirk would still be alive right now. Okay? I want people to understand the significance of their words right now. I want you to understand. Love him or hate him, Charlie Kirk was a martyr for freedom of speech. And we are currently living in a moment right now where, for the first time, we have an orchestrated coalition of concerned and somewhat, some more intelligent than others, but most of us are pretty intelligent people. And we're all here using critical thinking and gathering information so that we can share and find ways to hold our government accountable, or at least expose what they are doing in real time. And right now, this is something that I don't think that they would have, I don't think they expected us to be this effective at doing this. It appears my little cloud went out. I'd like to know what happened there. I'll hit the little on button and we'll see. But anyways, I'm sad. My little cloud light went out. Oh well. Anyways, I'll have to mess with that later. Listen, guys, we are living in the middle of an information war. And everywhere you look, people are vying for your attention. You know, these phones You know, they say that words have so much meaning, and they do. They have a lot of meaning. That's why when they say stuff like Palestinian prisoners, do you see how it's a prisoner? It's a prisoner when Israel does it, right? But if the hostages happen to be Israeli and the Palestinians are the ones that are the captors, then what you have, my friend, my dear friend, then what you have is a hostage. You see how changing a word, even though it might be essentially the same exact thing, that using that language, that's what propaganda is. Propaganda is the ability to share information, and if you need to, you will oftentimes skew it in a way that makes somebody feel emotionally triggered, and you're guiding them with choosing what to cover and what not to cover. Like if October 7th, for example, not only was there a stand down, but there was hundreds. In fact, this is one of the primary reasons why they did what they did. There was hundreds upon hundreds of some of them children, hostages, Palestinian hostages. Okay? I think it's important, just like she said, those are people that were taken without due process, and they were kidnapped. Many of them have been assaulted. And this is supposed to be okay. Also, by the way, another shocking thing is how many of these Palestinian prisoners, aka Palestinian hostages, how many of them died in Israeli captivity is actually very disturbing. Something that's not talked about that much either, but they're killed in captivity. They die. Unlike the ones that die by Hamas, which I'm not saying, I don't know how they were treated. They might have been tortured too. But if they died from starvation, well, hell, the people there are starving to death. So it's a little different when you look at stuff like people dying in captivity for Hamas, which is being currently bombed and in being decimated while their food's being cut off. So obviously that's not the same as good old-fashioned Israel that has its entire all the airplanes and everything that needs to land. Of course, some international travel is stopped occasionally on and off, but all this stuff, they got all the food they need over there. Yet prisoners are still dying. Do you understand there's a big difference there, right? Big difference. Diplomatically, it should there should be quite the highlight where people stop and go, wait a minute. Yeah, but the people that died that were Hamas hostages, they were, some of them probably were tortured. I don't know. But I haven't seen conclusive evidence that there was torturing. I've just seen people die. People could die from anything. But you have starvation and bombardment and literal war on one side. So when they die, at least that kind of stuff's going on. But what's going on with these hostages that are Palestinian that are getting taken by Israel? And why does nobody talk about that? Because guess what? October 7th didn't just happen for no reason. It wasn't just like magically they woke up one morning and were just like, you know what? Actually, you know what I feel like? I feel like kidnapping a shit ton of people from a music festival. Now, I can understand you're sitting there, just putting yourself in, use a little bit of, this is twisted, this is dark, this would be what you call a shadow work, but put yourself in there. Close your eyes right now. I want you to just close your eyes for a second. Picture this. You're with your family right now. Power, as long as you've lived, the power's been turning on and off. Your water gets shut off, your utilities. You and your people, live in essentially squalor, and you're constantly treated like a second-class citizen and a prisoner on your own land, where they come by and they brutally abuse you and they put you down, and if a little kid gets mouthy, they'll just shoot him. So everybody that you know has had a bad experience with the IDF. Okay, let's just leave it at that. More than likely, you probably have a uncle that got their house stolen by these guys. You're gonna have family members that have lost, property to the settlers. Could you imagine? Oh yeah, Uncle Abdul just lost his house. Yeah, the Zionists came in the West Bank and stole it from him. Because it was promised to him 3,000 years ago. That's why he built that property 40 years ago. He built it because he knew that 3,000 years ago, that book said that his stuff was going to be given to a nice Jewish family. That's why he built it. He was like, God, all this work I'm putting into this fireplace, some Jewish family is just going to really enjoy this fireplace when it's cold outside. Isn't that nice? It's just wonderful to think about that. I don't understand how you could actually go into a currently occupied property and have the sort of evil inside of your spirit that must be there for you to have such contempt for these people that you will steal their habitat. You'll steal the land, their blood, sweat, and tears. You'll steal it from right underneath their feet. If you don't think there's karmic energy that is being fed like a cyclone around Israel, they're probably draining. They're probably doing an energy drain on you when you go to Israel. There's got to be more. They always want everybody that's on their way on the up and up in politics, they all get sent on a little Israel trip, and then they, now you're seeing this with influencers. Like, we'll just, you know what? We'll do something over here. We'll keep going over here. Let's listen to this for now.
Force at noon on Friday. The second phase calls for the plan to establish a new governing mechanism in Gaza without Hamas participation, the formation of a security force compromising Palestinians and troops from Arab and Islamic countries, and the disarmament of Hamas. So, again, their numbers here aren't even correct when it comes to the deaths as well. So let's get into this a little bit more, ladies and gentlemen. I saw this post here from a Zionist account, and this is what gives me pause. And I just want to show you this for a second. This is from Edie Cohen. God delays but does not neglect. What do you think that means, huh? Posted this picture here and put X's on the diplomats that died. Again, like, I can't make this up. Like, the disgusting rhetoric, the
it's
disgusting
absolutely
behavior,
disgusting.
cheering on
So
death.
disgusting.
Who does that, folks? And this is one of the reasons why people are like, whoa. They continue to expose themselves. So this is where we're at now, ladies and gentlemen, cheering it on. And again, I want to remind you, Qatar is basically a U.S. outpost. Qatar is an ally of the United States. And if, as much as Trump and every government official says Israel is our greatest ally or whatever, well, here is Israel cheering on the death of Qatari diplomats. And Qatar is an ally of the United States. But of course, Trump isn't going to call that out. These are questions people need to start asking, folks. Professor Morandi saw this tweet and commented, and he said, Zionists immediately after Qatari and Turkish officials embraced their genocidal counterparts.
Yeah.
All 4 Qatari
Scumbags.
diplomats were killed, murdered when their
Scum.
Mercedes van steering malfunctioned.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah. Okay, there it
cheers
is.
to
The
the
bunny
song.
ear. Malfunction.
So
Of course.
I want to show you something.
Of course,
that
it was some
happened
sort of a Mossad operation.
years ago.
Once again.
An Egyptian scientist. Similar situation. That scientist's name was Samia. Let's pull her up here. Samira Musa. Now, the long history of suspicious deaths of Egyptian nuclear scientists. So again, I'm just putting all the pieces together, not making this up, but I find it very weird because it reminds me of what happened to Samira. So let's go on here a little bit. Maybe I can make this a little bit larger because the font's kind of, okay. On August 5th, 1952, a car came to pick up Samira Musa in Berkeley, California. The driver opened the door for the world-renowned scientist, who was the first ever female Egyptian nuclear scientist. The 35-year-old was the first woman to earn a doctorate in atomic radiation and the first woman to hold a teaching post at Cairo University, thanks to her groundbreaking PhD in atomic radiation in the 1940s.
Damn, that's badass.
Listen to what happened. Musa sat in the back seat as they left the city and headed along the California coast. She had completed her research and was preparing to return to Egypt, but she had received an invitation for dinner. Driving along the curved cliffs of the Pacific coast, the car suddenly swerved and plummeted 40 feet over the edge, killing her immediately. The driver jumped from the car just before the fall and later disappeared, and the invitation she received to California turned out to be fake. Let me say this part again. After she was killed immediately, the driver jumped from the car just before the fall and later disappeared, and the invitation she received to the California event turned out to be fake. Samira Musa. A lot of people don't know about this story, I
Wow,
think,
it's really sad.
but this is just one of several.
Yeah, she was
And
definitely
that's why
killed
when
by
I
the
heard the story,
Zionists.
the Qatari story, I was like, this kind of sounds a little similar. There's more. The death of the brilliant young physicist is shrouded in mystery. While no one knows for sure what happened, some suspect that she was targeted by the Mossad. Again, while no one knows for sure what happened, some suspect that was targeted by Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, to prevent Egypt from acquiring knowledge of nuclear technology, though it has never claimed responsibility. Now, if this sounds a little bit familiar, what you hear Israel saying about Iran and developing these nuclear capabilities, at one point, Israel had issue with Egypt trying to develop any type of nuclear technology. And I'm just thinking about this car accident, and if it wasn't for the attack that happened in Qatari from Israel, if it wasn't for this event, which is scheduled for Monday, that they were heading to, maybe I would not be as suspicious. But the fact that the timing of all of this is what makes me wonder.
They really don't want a ceasefire.
Let's go on a little bit more. This was hardly the last time that nuclear and other weapon scientists met an unfortunate end. June 13th, 1980, Yahya Mashad, another Egyptian physicist who was in charge of Iraq's nuclear program, arrived in France to test the fuel for the reactor. The morning he was to return home, a maid entered his Paris hotel room and found that he had been stabbed multiple times and bludgeoned to death. The last person known to have seen the scientist the previous night, a prostitute who called herself Marie Express, was killed a few weeks later by a speeding car, not long after her preliminary statement. The car and culprit were never found. Over the next several months, 2 more Iraqi nuclear scientists died under mysterious circumstances while outside of the country in separate poisoning incidents. Again, although it was not determined who was responsible, some people accuse Mossad. So this thing about the nuclear scientists, don't forget Israel killed some of Iran's scientists. And the diplomats, the Qatari diplomats, may not have been scientists, but I'm just putting all the pieces together. These are things that people may not be aware of. So there's history behind this. Here's another one. In another incident in July 14th, 1989, Said Badar, an Egyptian microwave scientist, fell to his death from a balcony in Alexandria, Egypt. Just 1 month before he died, Badar had left his research position at a West German university. Before his return to Egypt, he told colleagues of fears that he was under surveillance and reported that his apartment had
that's
been
eerie.
searched and documents and computer files were taken.
It's a
The Egyptian
bummer.
police report listed his death as unalive. We got to say it that way here on YouTube. Via asphyxiation and slashing of the wrists and from the fall. His family disputed the findings. Badar was an internationally recognized scientist and had spent years researching microwave circuitry.
Wow.
The field has application and development of satellite technology and missile guidance systems.
Wow.
These are just some examples, ladies and gentlemen. But the incident with Samira Musa is the one that really stands out. So, I'm waiting to see what the U.S. government is going to say about this, if they even speak on it. I just find this to be all very curious. You guys know how I feel about this so-called peace deal. This is not a peace deal. I'm very concerned for what is going to happen after this. Yes, Palestinians have made the long trek home. I saw the march that was happening, but I don't trust Israel. People are saying that they are now already rebuilding roads in Gaza. I just wonder if that's going to be for the Palestinian people. I just don't trust any of it. Israel has already laid out their Greater Israel plan. That includes them taking over Gaza. So while I'm not here to say people shouldn't be happy that Palestinians are able to go back home, I mean, they have to rebuild their homes. There's nothing left. I want people to be very cautious, because at the end of the day, I don't trust Israel, and I don't trust the U.S. government to, in the end, do the right thing. So I think we all need to be just paying close attention to things that are happening, including something like this car accident of these Qatari diplomats. Hey guys, this was a savvy clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.
All right.
It may be the case that the end is in sight, but at what cost?
What's going on, guys?
To
Let me
conclude
see
the
here.
show, I'm joined now by MEE's own editor-in-chief, David Hurst. David, welcome back to the studio.
Thank you.
Let me
Maybe-
see here. All right, we're going to take a look and see what's going on with the hostage exchange. We've already tried to find Caldera Engineering. Here we go. We can watch Fox.
Here on Live now from Fox 12:31 on the East Coast and 9:31 on the West Coast.
Here we go.
My name is Josh Breslow, and I'll be here with you for the next couple hours to bring you all of your top stories and live events from across the country.
Here it comes. Here's the new bullshit. I knew it.
Follow the latest on that
I knew it.
ceasefire as President Trump prepares to head to the region.
10 missing.
Israel's parliament, the Knesset, in the coming days. Now, right here is a live look over Tel Aviv in Israel, where you can see thousands upon thousands of people are gathered there, as they have been on Saturdays, really over the last couple years. And you can see just how many people are holding signs of those who are still held hostage. Now, the deadline approaching for all remaining hostages to be released as part of that U.S. brokered ceasefire deal. I do want to check in live. Jennifer Griffin at Fox News is joining us from over in Israel right now. Jennifer, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, Josh.
And I did want to ask you essentially how that ceasefire is holding up as of right now. Again, it's been just over 24 hours.
Well, the ceasefire is holding up completely. We know because Steve Witkoff and the Admiral Brad Cooper, who heads the U.S. Central Command, traveled down to Gaza earlier today, and they met with the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, who had pulled back to the agreed-upon line. That agreed-upon line still keeps the Israeli Defense Forces in about 53% of the Gaza Strip. But because the guns have now gone silent on both sides, about 500,000 Palestinians have returned to their homes, moving from the south in a constant stream of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians who've been living in tents, returning to the northern part of Gaza. What they are finding is hard to describe as homes, because most of it is rubble. 90% of the Gaza Strip has been destroyed in the last 2 years of fighting. What we are waiting for now, and you mentioned those thousands of Israelis who have streamed into Hostage Square here in Tel Aviv, which is where they've gathered every Saturday night for the last 2 years to press the government and to Hamas to bring the hostages home. They now know that within the next 48 hours, those 20 living hostages and the 28 deceased hostages should be back in Israel. We're learning from Hamas that they cannot find some of the deceased hostages, so I think
that's they're saying 10.
The public for the fact that some of those deceased hostages, it may take a little bit more time to find and to unearth in Gaza. But the 20 living hostages are expected to be out and brought back to Israel by 6 a.m. local time Monday morning. That's just ahead of President Trump coming here to Israel. He'll address the Knesset in Jerusalem. But emotions are very, very high here in Israel. There have been disappointment in the past, but most people that I speak to and all of the officials that I speak to on both sides believe that this hostage deal and ceasefire will hold in this first phase. The second phase is going to be a lot more complicated in terms of disarming Hamas, rebuilding Gaza, and eventually putting the Palestinians on some sort of path to statehood. That is all a lot more complicated than the release of the 2,000 Palestinian prisoners in exchange for the 20 living hostages. Josh.
And Jennifer, I did want to ask you about something you mentioned, because we've heard some fairly vague details from the Hamas terror group, and it's important to note that this is something that's been said a lot over the past 2 years or so.
Good old Fox.
Cannot find all of the bodies there of the hostages. That
you see how it's hostages.
The deal in any way, is that correct?
It's prisoners. The ones that they take are prisoners.
Well, what we believe, Josh, is that there are certain annexes to this 20-point agreement that was signed off in Sharm el-Sheikh.
You know, nobody talks about that either.
Wednesday. And those annexes,
they do that. They do this to the Palestinians, all thousands of them.
And agreements that while
arrest them for no reason.
Hostage release, there may be a few, up to 10 of the deceased hostages who have not been found yet. Remember, some of these hostages were farmed out to different factions of Hamas, to Islamic Jihad, to other Palestinian armed
Sorry, I'm using my
and they may
stand-up
have
desk.
some of the dead bodies. And so what the agreement, I believe, in the annex suggests is that there will be international security forces of some sort, including perhaps the Turks and the Egyptians, who will then go into to Gaza and work alongside the Palestinians in finding those remaining deceased hostages. The U.S. military has sent 200 U.S. soldiers and members of U.S. Central Command here to Israel. They've been arriving over the past 24 hours. All of them should be here by tomorrow. And they are going to be setting up under the aegis of Admiral Brad Cooper, the CENTCOM commander, a base, if you will, just north of Gaza near Ashdod in southern Israel, where they will be monitoring the ceasefire, humanitarian aid, security aid, and coordinating with Qatar, Egypt, UAE, Turkey, and others as they try to, after the hostage release occurs, to ensure that the ceasefire holds and that Hamas begins its disarmament, that the final deceased hostages, if they are not returned, are found. This is a very, very delicate period, but everybody is moving very swiftly, and there's a great deal of confidence that at least this first phase will take place, and those 20 Israeli living hostages will be home in Israel by Monday.
And I did want to ask you here before I let you go, do we have an idea of the timing there for President Trump's trip? Because we know it originally we'd heard Saturday, now we're hearing Sunday, possibly addressing the Knesset on Monday. What do we know so far about all of that as it does remain fluid?
Well, I think it's safe to assume that the president will fly overnight Sunday and arrive in Israel and be on the ground for a few hours. He will address the Knesset on Monday. He also may, in fact, meet with some of the families of the hostages. A lot of this planning is very fluid because of how quickly the agreement came together. We then understand that President Trump will fly to Egypt for a summit with other international players to thank the president of Egypt who helped oversee these talks in Sharm el-Sheikh that included these very crucial Qatari negotiators, the Turkish intelligence, among others. And so then what comes next in terms of the rest of the peace deal, the rebuilding of Gaza, who's going to be the security force in Gaza, how do you disarm Hamas and ensure that they are not in control of Gaza? All of that is going to take a massive Middle Eastern and international effort. We've heard talk of Tony Blair, the former British Prime Minister, serving as some sort of regent over Gaza, and President Trump himself being the head of what he calls a peace council there. But all of that has to be hammered out. The most important first phase is this exchange of 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, which will, for the Israelis, is a bitter pill because that includes 250 Palestinians who are serving life sentences for carrying out terror attacks or planning terror attacks here in Israel. Most of those, about 150 of them, will be deported overseas. Some of them will be sent to Gaza. And then of the 1,700 or so Palestinians who've been were detained after October 7th,
We all
placed in
know,
that 1,700 participating
we all
in the
know they
October
won't
7th attack.
keep
That was the red line
their
for Israel.
word,
But the 1,700 are Palestinians who were
won't
detained
keep their
after
word.
that massacre 2 years ago, and they will be returning to Gaza.
We know
Detained from. So that will all be taking
they
place
won't
in
keep
synchronous
their
fashion.
word.
There are 3 hospitals here in Tel Aviv, 5 in Israel.
They won't keep their word
Received
like serpents in the night.
They will care for those.
They
Some of those
slither
hospitals
outside.
severe malnourishment.
They turn quick tide. Other things it's causing lies. They threaten and attack
Keep us updated on what's
and remove all of the threat.
coming hours.
Try to move quick,
And I do want to take
but the world's turning on them.
over in Hostage Square.
We can see the crime. We can see your crime. We can see your crime. Open your eyes. Open never meant to make you do it. I never meant to make them fall. Little too close, collar close, go. A little too close, collar close, go. I'm gonna keep rolling with this right now. I never meant to make you do it. I never meant to make you go. Little too close, collar close, go. A little too close, collar close, go. A little too close, collar close, go. A little too close, collar close, go. You subjugate and you move up on the gate. Blackmail and you bribe. You buy the media to lie. You attack and divide. I hide behind a religion to disguise. But we can see what you're doing now. And it's not how it's gonna go down. You can't steal my freedom of speech. You can't steal my freedom of speech. Over my dead fucking body. I don't care if someone needs to say, you can't steal my freedom speech. I won't let you grieve. Protect all your pedo friends. I can't help but stay. What's happened? Well, got a photo in my picture. Will you come for me? Will you come for me? Gotta wonder what I say when I'm moving in my way. In my way, in my way now. I'm gonna kick back with your methods again. Just take me back, don't for the mind. Take me tackle in your coffee below, and the cold wind blows again. I think I love you like I love cigarettes. Since sex temporarily releases stress. Oh, but I think you're slowly killing me. No, no. Really love to be a lover, but I think you fell in love with another. Lose decision to take it or leave it, but I think you're making bad mistakes. Ooh, girl, tell me why do you think that I told you that I lost your ring in the sink? It's more like a pond, my dear, split the cash slowly on nicotine. Ooh, girl, tell me why do you think that I told you that I lost your ring in the sink? It's more like a pound in my day, split the cash slowly on nicotine. And I feel you when I breathe deep. As I turn to go, you're so deep in me, and I want to run, but I'm out of breath. It's not that fun anymore. I need to drink some water. I have nobody watching me anyway, so I don't even know why I'm streaming anymore. I have no idea why I do this anymore. It's funny because it's like I want to make fun of myself for trying this. I was born in a small town outside of Ville, where the man drank the whiskey, sipped on the bill. Give me 1 second here. First off, I'm glad that that's not happening. Let's just shut that one off. Okay. Let's just move all these down. There we go. What am I looking for? Logic. Where is it? Yep, there it is. Cool. So I got tracking, but that's not the one I want. Close. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, now that is a much better sound, guys. A much better sound. So this is what I wanted to check out. Alright, so we are checking all this out right now, guys. I'm going to do a live concert right now for you guys. And we're going to check out the quality of Streamlabs audio output. We're going to be able to see what sort of experience I'm going to be able to offer you guys in the future as we continue our journey. All 0 of you watching right now. I was born in a small town outside of Ville, where the man trying to escape slept on the bed. That ain't no sheriff, that ain't no man of love. That's just a man with the biggest guns who controls it all. That ain't no courtrooms, that ain't no lawyers too. That's just a man at the gallows pole waiting for me and you. There ain't no church here, there ain't no fear of God. That's just a tombstone with the name of the man that I just shot to give all to the homeless, face to the faceless, sound solid, face it to the faceless. All to the homeless, face to the faceless, sound solid, face it to the faceless. I'm not much of a fan of that one. I gotta knock that one. Sorry, guys. We're gonna do another one now. That's the one that I've been enjoying right now. You me do me real bad, baby. What does you do me so wrong? You know you do me so bad, baby. I can't wait for long. I can't wait. You call yourself an ally, but you ain't a friend. Stealing all your lies and selling to a friend. Stole the military technology from us. Now you got to capture the government. They fucking hate us. 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 They think we're too stupid to do anything. They fucking hate us. 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 That's why they must. I've got a bad feeling about these bastards. They seem like they try to move a lot faster. Well, now they don't gotta worry about their Charlie Kirk. It wasn't that convenient how all of that shit worked. I'm not saying that they did it. I'm not saying that they did. I'm just saying it's convenient. 'Cause I'm not anti-Semitic. But it's really convenient, isn't it? It's really just quite convenient when you think about it. Like, damn. Alright, anyways, I'm dicking around. I am dicking around. I still got one viewer, apparently. I don't know. Last time I thought I had a viewer, and then it showed I didn't have any. But I think this time I had a few different viewers. So, we're going to do, like, I don't know, 2 more songs, I guess. I felt like playing guitar for a minute or 2. And we're streaming it all out anyways. So, we might as well. It's a mega stream Sunday. Yeah. I see you on your way, on your way. Shallow grace on your face, on your face. You said you wanted out, not for long. Not for long, not for long, not for long. I could see you get your taste, Holy Grail on for mistakes. 1,000 miles instead, far too gone to care. But you're not there, no, you're not there no more. Are you looking for something better? And I shall buy for sure in stormy weather. Are you looking for something better? And I shall buy for sure in stormy weather. Are you looking for something better? I shall buy for sure in stormy weather. Are you looking for something better? I shall buy for sure in stormy weather. Oh, na 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 na. Oh, oh, oh. I don't think you know my love. When it rains, when it rains, when it rains, it pours. Yes, it pours, my love. I don't mean to overthink, I just get lost. inside of my head. Are you looking for something better? I'll shall baffle show in stormy weather. Are you looking for something better? Thou shall baffle show in stormy weather. Ooh, are you looking for something better? Thou shall baffle show in stormy weather. There we go. Are you looking for something better? Thou shall baffle show in stormy weather. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Are you looking for? Are you looking for something better? Thou shall baffle show in stormy weather. Are you looking for something better? Thou shall baffle show in stormy weather. So I can't breathe, I cannot breathe, I cannot stay. Somebody for me, so unfade. I cannot fight, so late, how many? So you don't really follow me, you gotta stay. You really wanna feel a better day. So better than another day. Instead I gotta be. You can go to me. Instead of not better me. Sing that for now. Don't ever know. Gotta want, gotta be something that you don't know. So you silence all the when I mention you and your controlling ways. Mention you and your controlling ways. You call yourself a greater starlight. Well, I can't help but disagree. But I speak out about it more publicly. But I don't wanna get executed on the street. Ooh, you got a mom. Ooh, stronger than the government. Ooh, you got a black man ring. So if I give you, I got a spot string and burn a hole through the dollar as we go on fighting your woes. And we don't know what the purpose of relationship where you just take all our shit and we don't get nothing back. You just steal our shit and you promise us liberty and then threaten us if they share it for the fucking truth. It's really disgusting. Somebody tell me how you call yourself an ally to you and me. It's disgusting, but we will start discussing it. Yeah, you didn't want to talk about it. Charlie, quick, real quick. You know what the conversation topic would have been like that night, but he took a bullet in his neck, right? I don't know, I got so many questions, but Tyler Robinson definitely almost got set up. He did pull the trigger once with the rifle and take it apart less than 3 seconds later, and then jump off of a roof like a pro. Walk off like who would have known that you would be anything odd. Okay. Now then, we get high and paranoid and they dig through the videos. At least that's what they want you to think. You have to be stoned and incomprehensive just to figure out what Candace Owens and the adjacent have discovered looking into the Charlie Kirk thing. But I'll tell you what, some very odd patterns, guys. Very odd. Alright? We're gonna sing about them. Okay, here we go. We're gonna just go with this. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna try and explain the anomalies in the case of Charlie Kirk to the rhythm and beat of some music as I'm playing it. This is gonna be a song we're gonna talk about the inconsistency in Charlie Kirk's murder, and I'm gonna make it in blues minor. Well, I gotta tell you something. That don't seem to be a mission. A real peace when you carry a map of the lands around all the places that you claim you deserve. And then you treat us like we got a lot of nerve to question whether they deserve land that's not theirs. Imagine using the word of the Lord to steal, enslave, and subvert another person. Well, actually, they're not people to you. They're just dirty animals. They're like the Amalek. Well, they just go on stealing land. They say it was given to them. They just grab guns and pull them out of the houses. Zionist settlers are true scum, treating land like it's like a fish to catch. Seriously. They just go up and steal somebody's home right from underneath their feet. It's great. Well, I'm gonna tell you a story about Charlie Kirk. It appears like the deep state's involved in that shit. Okay, guys? I'm gonna tell you there's some sort of a cover-up. All right, here we go. So you expect me to believe that the shooter took off a shot, and then he proceeded to take apart his rifle within 3 seconds, because then he jumped off the roof. Okay, cool. So then he went and he was running away from the cops, right? And he was like, wait, I should stop. I should put my gun back together. That way when they find it, it's all put back together. Deal. Okay, good. All right, here we go. I'll put my gun just like completely, let me reassemble it while I'm getting chased by the police as a potential suspect. They don't know, yeah, or I just committed murder. Either way, right? Let's just put that psychology together there. For sure, definitely gonna put the rifle back together and like make sure that it's super, yeah, right next to a chicken coop. Great, good move, there, buddy. Good move. All right, here we go. Well, I totally put the rifle back together, yeah. Then I went away for a few days, and I was waiting to get my rifle. Then I basically confessed every single thing that I could possibly think of to my ex-girlfriend, who's a boy, and then that is Tyler Robinson's girlfriend, and he writes words like vehicle and sweep, and then other just very strange language. It definitely an FBI operative. It was an operative. Definitely said things like squad car and stuff like that. Yeah, it was some language that you would hear an actual detective, an FBI detective probably drafted and wrote that thing, and they probably were like, yeah, that's good. You know what? I'm going to put that out. That's actually pretty funny when you think about it, because there's definitely some question as far as where that is, huh? Oh, that's pretty funny to think about. All right, anyways, yeah, I'm just dicking around right now. I was having some fun with it, but I'll put the guitar away now. I was having fun. Probably bathroom break. I just wanted to test out some stuff. Get some hours up there. Try and work on. I need to get this YouTube. I need to get this stuff going, I guess. I don't know. All right then. Goodbye.